Well, Canada's big banks are partnering with Indigenous-owned financial firms across the country. In April of this year, Indigenous-owned asset manager and strategic advisory firm Longhouse Capital Partners joined forces with CIBC. Longhouse is raising capital to build a $1 billion fund to finance major First Nations projects in Indigenous communities like wireless towers and transmission lines. Joining us now is Fred Blasio, co-founder and CEO at Longhouse Capital Partners. Fred, thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Let's talk a little bit about the fund. What do you want to see accomplished with this, and why not work with the government on this, or will you be working with the government?
Yeah, I think we will work with everyone, quite candidly. Simplistically, Longhouse is an Indigenous-led investment platform that's built to deliver, frankly, the missing piece in Canada's infrastructure strategy, which is access to scalable, affordable capital for First Nations to participate in Indigenous equity. And we're seeing that through a blended finance approach where we take market-based capital and we marry that to all of the existing federal and provincial loan guarantee programs that exist across the country. And according to some of the McKinsey research we've unleashed or were able to find, it looks like Canada's infrastructure gap is about $200 billion per annum, which is a huge number for the next decade. So you're looking at well over $1 trillion of investment opportunities. Now, contrast that with the capital available through those blended finance solutions like the Indigenous Loan Guarantee Program that the federal government has put forth, which is $10 billion. When you aggregate all of those numbers, you're getting to about $20 billion, and that's a one-time $20 billion. And if you contrast that with the $200 billion required on a per annum basis for, let's say, the next decade, you can quickly see that there's a mismatch between what is required and what is available from a loan guarantee program. So Longhouse really allows for that blended capital to take place and delivers significant amounts of capital for First Nations to take advantage of the equity call option rights that they've been afforded through UNDRIP, which was ratified back in 2021.
Okay.
Oh, that's great. Fred, I'm wondering, we always hear about a lot of infrastructure projects getting bottlenecked with permitting delays and approval delays by various levels of government. Do you believe that you're going to be able to fast track some of these projects in order to expediently be able to ameliorate some of the deficiencies within infrastructure within the First Nations communities?
So I would say that First Nations are definitely open for business. And I think when you partner up front with First Nations, you quickly realize that not only are they loyal, but they're fairly sophisticated, and they assist in countless different ways to accelerate projects. I had the good fortune of working with a nation out west where we were able to deliver $1.4 billion to develop their lands rapidly, and that was the Sanok development here in British Columbia. And notably as well, our current Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, Tim Hodgson, when he was at Hydro One, he instituted a wholesale change in the approach Hydro One has with First Nations, which I think has served as a template for the rest of the country. And in a nutshell, what he did was he firstly took the Indigenous Relations Group out of the risk management group and put it into the business development group. So a very significant difference in terms of the approach to First Nations. And he quickly realized that if he was going to double the rate base in Ontario, he needed to become the partner of choice for First Nations. And I won't bore you with all the details, but suffice it to say that here we find ourselves with the Chatham to Lakeshore transmission line, which was built, I think, 15% under budget and 18 months ahead of schedule. So when I hear comments about, the First Nations are slowing things down, I'd submit to you that when you partner with us and you do so at the front end of projects, in the spirit of free, prior, and informed consent, you'll find us very willing partners who are practical and who like to get to solutions that satisfy everybody. And I'd like to say that what is good for First Nations, frankly, is good for all Canadians. And given that Indigenous equity is now a federal priority, I think it just hastens the speed at which we can operate under the new constructs.
And now you have CIBC on board with you. How is that unfolding? And are other banks showing interest in this?
The CIBC has been a terrific partner for Longhouse. It's a big six bank, and getting that kind of seal of approval, if you will, is a manifest improvement about just our own, frankly, against just our own reputation. We went through an extensive due diligence process in order to be placed on their institutional platform, and they have been nothing but outstanding partners for us. Not only are they making introductions, they're helping us raise capital, and frankly, we're incredibly excited at what's already transpired, and we look forward to some announcements in the new year that I think they will be proud of.
All right, and are you looking at any private investment, or are you getting private investors on board with this as well?
So the way we operate is we're in the market looking for institutional capital. We're about to close on the first $300 million, which should be done in the first quarter of 26. And that will be for $300 million. And that is institutional capital. So think large insurance companies, et cetera. We combine that with the projects we advise on with what is available from the loan guarantee programs and what we refer to as concessionary capital. So we blend market-based capital with concessionary capital. So you get to a weighted average cost of capital that's substantially lower than if you were trying to just find equity dollars, which typically is much more expensive. And so we are seeing an acceleration of that. Large corporates are keen to do business, and this country will be rebuilt through the participation of First Nations. And so Longhouse provides what we feel is a market-ready solution by blending those private credit and federal tools in a way that advances the country's desire to build infrastructure, which of course is good for all Canadians.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up there, Fred, but thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Fred de Blasio is co-founder and CEO at Longhouse Capital Partners.